ultimate skills that I think we've seen from Monki going on in this series has been really a treat to see. I do think that the craziness that you're describing, Mark, definitely has been present, but it also just kind of feels like these plays he's going for feel more guaranteed because of the team that is behind him. I think the supporting cast of WE have done such a good job at allowing him to go for more bold engages, knowing that they will back him up at every single turn. As bans have already concluded, Rumble left open, and Flandre is going to immediately snag that one up. There are still counters available, the Galio notably one of them, as well as the Ornn, so you do have a number of options here if you are Q, but it seems like WE have something else in mind. They maybe want to just try and snag up a mid-jungle duo to get Monki in a comfortable position right away.
And I like the priority for Annie because you can now combo this with another carry jungler of Monki's choosing. I will say that Nefiri, Olaf are gone. Wukong is gone. So when you're going down the list of other possible combinations with Annie,
does he go Nidalee? I mean,
maybe.
CC.
He showed a Nidalee. Gavin, what if he plays Kha'Zix?
Don't threaten me with a good time. He plays Kha'Zix, I'll freak out. I'll turn into Kha'Zix.
If it's a Kha'Zix angle, it has to happen later on in the draft. So WE are going to start sculpting out the rest of their composition with some at least stable picks that can handle the side lanes. They pick up their answer for Cube in the top lane for this K'Sante Rumble matchup. Anyone's Legend have a chance now to separate what could have been a Monki Lee Sin pairing with the Annie. Tarzan trying to pair that with something that could set this Lee Sin up. Twisted Fate still available. Oof. Immediately pivots to that. We'll see if Tarzan still wants to take the Lee Sin off the board.
And remember, this is a Twisted Fate that can be flexed. We saw Flandre play it in their last series. This is a dynamic pick for AL in the draft phase, so it could go either way. Mid lane is still open if this is top lane, and top lane is now actually... Okay, so I lied. Rumble is locked in.
Hang on. I'm going to let you cook. I will encourage this cooking if they send Rumble support. Just to put it out there. I don't think it's going to be the case, but I don't want you to fall on your sword just yet, you know. I saw that you got really excited.
Equalizer does clear waves. I don't know. I think I just am missing the Rumble here. Honestly, I'm a little too excited. WE being up 2-0 has got me missing things that are right in front of me. But I do also think that returning to global pressure is kind of what AL are doing to return to the success we saw from them in their most recent series regardless. They had the Rise, they had the Twisted Fate, they had a bunch of these global tools, the Shen as well, to be able to get Flandre more involved, to just have that pressure that they could exert onto the map. And so I think they're returning to that a little bit with this draft and with this Twisted Fate lock-in. Bard being picked up here, Erha, not only are they denying it from Kael, who is a very good Bard in his own right, but also they are setting up for Monki to have another carry performance and for Erha to just kind of follow him around. And that leads me to question what weak side AD carry we might be giving over to Hope. Jhin is notably still up, so I wonder if that priority is kind of there for Team WE. And if they don't go Jhin, what else are they thinking of? Varus could also be something, but I feel like whenever Twisted Fate is locked in, you always have to be very cautious of your roams, just knowing that an ultimate could go down to a side lane and punish you for leaving.
I like the Caitlyn call out from Anyone's Legend. Maybe not necessarily an AD carry you want a weak side, but if you give her the advantage, she can hold her own and she'll have the push advantage that does give Bard the freedom to start looking for the side lane plays in the first place. And also, Caitlyn Bard is such a powerful laning combo that Anyone's Legend, who are notably kind of struggling with Hope and Kael in the laning phase, trying to deny some of those options away from him. There's the Jhin that you highlighted. Now WE. Oh, okay.
Like
well,
Sivir. Yeah.
Yep. Sivir, weak side king when it comes to AD carry marksman. You can just insta-clear the wave, you leave her to her own devices, and you'll have guaranteed wave clear now on a side where if it was just Annie, she's not going to be able to clear waves just as fast. Oh, boy. What?
Monki is last pick. Anytime Monki is last pick, something crazy ends up happening. So whatever Monki goes for here, I really hope this suspension, or this suspense that we're building up, pays off into something crazy. Monki last pick is always a treat. Kaisa gonna be the lock-in here for AL, so it seems like they are more into let's go for engages, let's go for fights, let's start up these skirmishes. Nautilus going to be a pairing that facilitates that as well. But again, this is Sivir. You've got the spell shield, but it seems like AL are just overloading on CC because you can't spell shield all of it. Galio instead gonna be the last lock-in. So is it Galio's support for Kael?
It could also be Rumble support, but it
could be.
We'll see what it ends up being. WE, when I'm looking at Monki's champion pool. Oh, okay. Well, I think the Galio coming in probably deflected any of the spiciness coming out from Monki. I was looking not only at Kha'Zix, I was looking at Viego, which is a long-time Monki special. Viego is not terrible into what they were showing up until the Galio showed up. Once the Galio arrives, suddenly you are no longer interested in having a champion that's fully dependent on resets and not getting CC chained. And the flexibility from anyone's legend does show itself in full force. We're getting Rumble support for Kael to try and combat some of the push and have some of the double range advantage that they need.
We were like half joking, by the way, calling out the Rumble support. So to see it actually lock in, dude, I can't stop laughing. Oh my lord. Yeah, AL now on series point, pulling out the dark technology, full engage, global pressure with the solo lanes, and looking to play the map exactly like how they did in their most recent series. And they have to play like how they did in their last best of 5 in order to come back into this match against WE. And WE, all they need is one more game mark to make the miracle run continue, to take that next step in the dance toward the finals against Top Esports and potentially beyond. A lot riding on this match, and for AL, I feel losing here would be a very big disappointment given how we started in this tournament.
Here in Game 3, the cheers for WE still ring the loudest. Now up 2-0 against anyone's legend. And with such a crazy swap of champions around Summoner's Rift here, last time that we have seen Rumble support in the LPL was from Fun Plus Phoenix's Life against BLG in 2024.
A lot more recent.
This champion... Yeah, we've definitely seen Rumble support around the world more recently. I know Huhi was the last one to play it over on Sentinels in the LCS. Idea is that you max E first because you get more ticks of MR percentage shred per point. So that will help benefit a majority of this composition, because even with Kaisa and your solo lanes, these are all magic damage heavy. So this allows you to kind of bypass the fact that there is more of a traditional frontline setup from WE with the K'Sante and the more standard frontline bruiser in this Xin Zhao from Monki.
Yeah, there is a good amount of AP coming out from AL, but you see that D-Blade is also being built by Flandre, so he'll probably be going the AD Twisted Fate route, which I think is going to be very punishing if it ends up getting ahead. You look at WE's comp, and most of these guys, specifically this Annie, are immobile. So if ever he gets push in the lane and can manage an ultimate down toward mid, I think the lockdown of Twisted Fate plus Galio probably just means that regardless of the damage profile that you have, you're going to be under CC for so long that you're probably just dead. So I think that is something to definitely look out for. Karis is very vulnerable on this pick. It's not the best matchup for Annie, and you can be visited by multiple different members of AL. But specifically, I am looking at jungle to really get on the map. I feel Tarzan has not been having a series that we can classify as good. It feels like Monki has been doing so much better.
Oh, dear
Double
Lord.
summoners already burned.
At least Flandre maintains the health advantage, but that should signal to Monki or anyone else on the map to go top lane soon. Meanwhile, Shanks tags Karis with the taunt. Resonating strike, not enough damage to finish off Karis, but it does burn his flash. And that can set up for a repeat visit as Kael trying to match the roam from Erha. Monki being able to at least take a drive-by in the mid lane, pick up a CS here or two, and just say, all right, well, Karis, you are safe. You're not going to get dove under this tower.
That 15 gold is just absolutely crazy, man. I mean, from the one minion that he's able to pick up from the mid waves, that might as well gets a little snack. But both junglers starting on the Raptors means that they will have some fairly extended sequences. Kael.
Summoner heal burned by both supports just for the movement speed and to get their 80 carries in or out of position. Tarzan, however, hunting. Oh, I guess he was looking for Erha's Bard instead. That resonating strike or sonic wave.
Tarzan wants
very
this.
wide. About below 50% HP, has barrier and flash. Hope is low on HP as well. They have to be careful with the timing of this. Teleport coming in immediately from Cube's Cassante. That sacrificial summoner spell gives breath and space to about an Erha to survive from this dive.
All right, so it prevents the dive. Good reaction there from Cube. He pushed in the lane. So will, at the very least, provide a little bit of a buffer for him to not miss as much experience and as much CS. But still, Flandre's going to be able to get this wave under the tower. He is going to stay, probably to pick up a plate. Does Monki try and interrupt him, though? He would be doing this 1v1.
I'm looking at Monki staying in Fog of War. Flandre has no idea.
There's
there
no
are no
way.
summer spells on this Twisted Fate. He procs the gold card. Monki will slow him down with the Audacious Charge. Cube flashes to get into range. First blood to Monki's Xin Zhao.
And you can see the smile on Monki's face. That was a beautiful usage of the Fog of War, getting around there without Flandre noticing. And First Blood goes over to the jungler of Team WE. Has he gotten First Blood in all 3 games so far, by the way, Mark? I think he has.
Trying to double check in my mind, but so much craziness has happened in this series, I can't tell you or confirm that for you. But it would not surprise me. Monki has been the leading pillar for WE's craziness to begin with, and he continues catching anyone's legend off guard. And we highlighted it in the pre-show. We highlighted it in the teaser up for the 3rd draft. If WE has a 1% chance of pulling it off, if there is even a sliver of a chance that this play could happen, anyone's legend just need to respect it. And Flandre gets punished for it.
Every possibility turns into an opportunity, and WE take that quite literally. Now, Monki in the mid lane.
He dashes to the minions, but doesn't hit. The wind becomes lightning. Flash taunt setting up onto Karis. Karis is here. Tarzan wants to be able to turn it around, but doesn't get in range of Karis as Monki with a well-timed crescent guard punts them away. Shanks now on the retreat.
Shanks is waiting
on this Galio. Karis has the movement speed. Cube can look for the collapse, and there's no other way out. Instead, just back into the arms of Karis, and Monki is just so relieved to see that WE's momentum continuing in their favor.
And you can see he wants to try and look for an invade onto the red, but Kael is in the area. Hope gets stunned up, will get chunked out, but WE's bot lane not going to act on that CC landing onto the Kaisa. Really insane disengage there from both Monki and Cube, by the way. He went forward and actually canceled the Destiny. Flandre was looking to get into mid lane, use that global ultimate to apply pressure onto the matchup, like we said we expected him to do. And that gets completely thwarted, and then Monki peels for his mid laner, manages to save Karis long enough, and they turn the play on its head. Oh, that's tilting. And then the knock-up here as well to stop Tarzan's advance. Shanks is channeling the ultimate. He can't go forward. And then Cassante closes in, so Shanks is like, all right, I'm dead either way. I have to go forward, and gifts his counterpart a kill.
Anyone's legend can try and take a step back, take a deep breath, and recognize that while WE once again have the momentum on their side in this 3rd game, with match point in their favor, it is still not over yet. But AL need to show the discipline. They need to show the restraint and wait for their time. And the fact that WE have been able to find counter response after counter response can be so frustrating to many teams. But we know that the best that AL has shown has been able to come back from these moments. Now, WE are picking up the grubs on the top side of the map. There's still a dragon to take, but Tarzan has not made any advancements just yet, as Monki leaves one grub alive so that he can answer to the bottom side objective as well.
I like this a lot. I mean, Kael's got a lot of deep vision placed, but I don't think AL can properly respond to this. WE have disengage tools and also know that AL are likely waiting in the bot side river, so they're not going to push up too lackadaisically.
That's a little far, but he pops the Sivir ultimate ability. Oh my goodness, Cube is coming in for a TP flank. He has the first move over Twisted Fate because his Destiny is not up yet for another 4 seconds. That gets the flash out of Kael as well as the Summoner's Heal spell. WE are now up on Summoners. Can they use it to translate into a Dragon immediate advantage?
Insane timer there from WE. They probably calculated the ultimate pixel perfectly, but now ult being channeled here. I don't know if they can act on it, though. AL. Destiny not going to be used there for Flandre on the teleport. They're just going to get vision. And yeah, good timing there from Team WE. Completely thwarts the play that AL were looking to make on the bot side river and leaves this dragon unbesmirched. Meanwhile, WE got those 2 grubs on the top side. So these little granular advantages coming through in the objective department, which is so far historically in this series something they have not been super great on. AL usually get the first couple of neutrals and then WE win out on the fights to go from there. But WE are actually the ones to pick up the grubs. And so far, like I said, Dragon not taken yet. So that one is up for grabs.
And I can't help but feel a small sense of desperation already leaking out of some of these plays and decisions that AL are making. There is a clear teleport advantage from Flandre, not in the teleport, but in the Destiny, once Cube was forced to come back to the top side of the map. But a hasty use of it, trying to catch out a straggler, but the rest of WE were all grouped up in numbers. There was no play to be had there, and the small window that could have been expended by the Pandas to find a way back into the game off of that, well, they're going to have to wait for that Destiny to come back off cooldown instead. WE taking their time with that dragon, and neither team has made any movements towards it in the past couple of minutes.
No, they haven't, but WE getting the grubs, I feel, is more of a denial, to be honest with you, because AL have so much side lane pressure with the Galio and the Twisted Fate. The global ultimates just mean that you have so much side lane threat and can get a lot of plates from having a style like that. So being able to deny that objective away, I think, gives WE more time to group up in 5v5. As, speaking of grouping up, AL are looking to find a skirmish here, but Kael is caught. No flash.
He has no sums from the prior fight. Tarzan tries to break it open and buy time for his support to get back into position. Monki with the Crescent Guard. Isn't enough damage. No, Tarzan finds the kick onto Monki, saves his support's life. Tarzan tries to rise to the occasion, and even the odds. Tarzan flashing forward, finds a bout with the resonating strike. This is the prime Tarzan we were waiting to see all series long, and AL roared to life here in game 3.
All right, AL have got some fight in them still. Tarzan with a beautiful Dragon's Rage kick manages to save Kael and then gets so much space for the rest of his teammates to play with, as we do get a replay here. Dragon as well, once we go back to live, should be given over to anyone's legend, as, yeah, I was thinking Monki split from the fight, but he is still healthy, so he should be able to one-shot Kael, but the kick plus the Q buys space. Hope is able to advance, and all of Team WE unfortunately get taken down. Now Monki back to live is going on to Kael, and I don't think he's gonna have a Lee Sin to save him this time.
If at first you don't succeed, try again. Monki will do. He finds Kael again before his flash comes back up, and WE are no strangers to being absolutely persistent on Summoner's Rift.
And they're on the top side. They should be able to get the last grub, I think, just given that they're in the area. And it's a convenient pickup, you know? So they'll be able to finish off that camp. Meanwhile, though, you can see that Tarzan is maybe looking to overplay on a side lane here onto a bout.
No flash on this Sivir.
Oh, missed.
Wait for the spell shield, but the resonating strike does not connect. Erha now on the flank. Karis flash forward, finds Hope. And now Tarzan could be next. There's no flash on this Lee Sin. Tempered Fate is going to stall some time. Kick away from Karis, deny some damage from the Annie, but he forgot about. And oh boy, this Sivir's starting to roll away with some free gold in her pockets as well, which is not the case that you want to have happen if you are AL.
Good sidestepping there from About as well to dodge the Q. I think that if that lands hang on, going back to live, Monki might be in some trouble.
Gold card onto the Xin Zhao. No Crescent Guard being used early enough.
Oh.
No way he gets out alive.
Slow.
Okay. Well, AL finally get a punish onto Monki for a second time around, but it does come at the cost of Flandre coming down to the mid lane. Cube will be able to collect some gold in these plates on the top side.
And we now see a bit of a jumble on the lane assignments, Mark. We see that the mid laners are down in bot lane. Hope has been roamed up toward this top side to pick up some gold as the Kaisa. And we kind of alluded to the lane swaps being a primary way that AL can function through with their macro once you coast around that mid game. And I feel like we have been seeing a lack of that in this series. I think it's one of the reasons why WE have been so successful in the best of 5 thus far, is because they have kind of locked AL into this group as 5, fight as 5 style that WE are just so amazingly good at, right? We saw this against BLG, and it was one of the primary ways they managed to win that series. So now that AL have been given some breathing room here in Game 3, they're making the most of it, switching up the lane assignments and trying to maximize gold for their carries.
Oh boy. Erha playing with fire there in his own jungle quadrant. Unbeknownst to him, Tarzan was lurking around the corner.
I like this.
Using the power of Tarzan's Lee Sin, now somewhat accelerated. Sundered Sky already complete, and a Phage component working towards that Black Cleaver means that Tarzan should feel confident in trying to go for these invades, trying to deny resources from Monki. This is the first time we've seen in this series where Tarzan is starting to get the gold advantage over Monki in the matchup.
And all of AL are on this top side, even though they don't get the invade play that they were maybe trying to spring a trap on with WE. They are going to be on this river. Herald should belong to them. A good wave clear here from Kai. Hey, you know, we were joking about the Rumble support and being able to, like, wave clear with your ultimate, but it's not a joke anymore. Who's laughing now? Manages to deny probably a plate from Team WE, but they're just going to shift on toward this bot side. But I think no matter how much setup Team WE establish on this part of the map ahead of the Dragon, AL now having the Herald means that they can just charge this in mid or charge this elsewhere and pull attention to that lane to try and, you know, mitigate the amount of gold you can get from a Herald charge on these plates.
And while it might have looked silly for Shanks to use his TP for that Rift Herald when it already seemed like AL had numbers for it, they are starting to pay respect over to WE in the fact that if there's a small chance that they're going to contest us at this fight, let's just preemptively have all of our numbers here so that we do not give a window to WE back in this game. And with it, they are paid for a solid 1.5 thousand gold advantage here at the 16-minute mark. I'm going to be honest, Gavin, I did not see who secured first brick. Was it AL?
AL, yeah. Barely getting it, like 1 second difference. But WE also got a plate in mid, so, you know, balances it out a little bit from the bonus gold you get with first tower. Hope is pushed up quite far here.
There's a hero's entrance from Shanks, but it's not going to happen in time. My goodness, that Kaisa got popped.
That's really bad for AL because they were setting up for maybe trying to contest this Dragon, but now with no AD carry and frankly the rest of AL kind of scattered around the map, not only are they going to surrender that Dragon, give it over to Team WE, but also this mid lane turret is going to fall as well, so a bunch of gold being given over to them, just off of a really uncharacteristic, I think, mistake from the AL AD carry, pushing up way too far with no vision of his counterparts.
No real backup there. I know we mentioned that Shanks could have poured it in with the hero's entrance, but he just got destroyed. There was way too much burst. Sonic Wave from Tarzan gets him into the pit. He pops the Rift Herald. He's ready to ride this one out for combat.
Oh my god, Monki got it.
And he secures the Dragon. Rift Herald still at the ready if they want to take it for a ride. Flandre with the gold card looks for Cube. He absorbs it. Tarzan in trouble. Oh, it's the all-out onto Flandre, and the Twisted Fate now has to run and scurry away. Karis trying to fight on back with the rest of his team, but Monki has been felled here. Flash from Karis. Barely misses out on Hope. Really clutch movement for the AD carry if anyone's legend to dodge out on danger, but Kael could be the next on the chopping block here. WE running this Rumble down. One more stun guarantees it for WE.
Good target selection there from Karis. Manages to land his abilities, finds his mark, and now gets a couple of kills for his effort. Monki goes down, but he does secure the dragon for his team. So AL not going to be able to really rely on that dragon stacking in order to be a feasible win con just yet, as I do want to get a replay. This felt like a very split team fight for both teams. We had a lot of attention being paid toward the backlines, and it just kind of felt like the frontliners weren't necessarily where they needed to be. And yeah, it was just kind of all over the place, but now we see kind of Karis proto belt flash in, finds an angle, gets a kill, and then they're just able to run down a second one for the Annie. So that one-shot burst potential that we saw put on to Hope for his overextension in the mid lane going to be made all the more worse with more gold being funneled into the mid laner of WE.
And we have to mention that Monki is not playing one of his signature carry champions. He is playing the meta in the Xin Zhao pick. Sundered Sky and Black Cleaver as well, so no funny AP builds either for the increased healing. He is being a role player this time around. Twisted Fate with the Destiny. Equalizer slows him down, deals some damage onto Erha's Bard. Tarzan is fishing for a follow-up. Not going to continue the chase. They're going to use this pressure maybe to shift on over to the mid lane, but WE swing right on back. They're looking for Tarzan with the Tempered Fate. Dodges out on it. Cube in a 1v2. Could be in trouble. Looks for Hope. Clips him with the Q3. There's no flash on this Kaisa, but Cube has to back off for now. Monki tries to get into the fray. Cube is back in it with the Blast Cone. This Monki is ready to rock and roll. Hope gets knocked up, but the hero's entrance forces Monki to back off. Tarzan wants to be able to find some kills here. Kael slimps away, and the rest of WE now on the back foot. One-for-one trade so far. Cube goes down, but so does Kael and Hope. Shanks forced to retreat. A flash from Erha tags Flandre for the Cosmic Binding Slow. Tarzan under fire with the Ricochet Blades. He goes in, tries to make
my God!
But WE never say die, and they always believe in the best of themselves. Anyone's legend lose out on the gold lead, and WE have the momentum right on back, and they're going to turn into a Baron.
WE are doing it, Mark! They're looking for the 3-0. They get a crucial fight, and now they're onto the Nashor. It looked like it was going to be in AL's ballpark to complete the play, to get a fight that would cement themselves as the team ahead going into the late game. But WE find the turnaround. Monki looks for the re-engage, and Baron will be secured.
Kael shows up, but there's no smite on him. Baron secured for WE off spawn. What is this team? Where did they come from?
What is this team fight, by the way? I was like really confused at how WE were approaching this at the start. So Erha gets tagged. Monki's completely split. I thought AL were going to engage onto him. Then Monki flashes on to Hope, gets the Q3 of the Xin Zhao, gets the knockup, but then has to exfiltrate the fight. Everyone is completely split. Cube somehow lives. Timber acts as a 6-man and finishes off a kill here, and then suddenly off the bouncing boomerang damage, I think it was, they find the re-engage. Monki gets the confidence to go back in, and going back to live, you can see the siege is coming through, and WE are trying to make the most of this Baron buff.
WE really representing the spirit of LPL in prior seasons, where they thrive in the chaos and they are bending teams to their will, and anytime they try and dance to the beat of this insanity, they just force themselves into many errors. And WE are always finding themselves one step ahead. It is just incredible to see a team going from 8th seed in the regular season, now in a spot where we're not only seeing the best that they have ever shown, we don't even know if this is their peak yet.
We don't. They could go so much higher, but first, they have AL to deal with, and they are looking to try and complete the cleanest sweep. People joking in the chat about a WE 3-0. Well, you're not laughing now. That is closer to reality than you think.
Flandre forced to flash off of the threat of a Karis engage just from the Rocket Bell cast. Bottom inhibitor sieged. WE now can shift to the mid lane where Cube is already taking apart Shanks' health bar and making him ready for a collapse. Erha tagged by the Sonic Wave. Tarzan tries to fish for any summoner spells to be baited out or any reactive moves from the WE members, but they hold their ground, and they are the ones now playing a calmer game and forcing anyone's legend to scramble and panic.
They get a lot of gold from that Baron buff. You can see AL now, the desperation is starting to creep in here. Dragon has spawned. WE take a really awkward reset timer. They're going to allow anyone's legend, I think, into this river, but realistically, how long can they hold it? We've seen them in this position before. WE are not afraid, even when they don't have vision.
Shanks finds the engage onto Monki, but he pops the pressing guard. No one can follow up on the engage from Shanks. It's now an immediate 5-on-4 advantage. Tarzan and the rest of anyone's legend have to scram. This dragon belongs to WE. They're not closer to soul point anytime soon. Karis with the TP flank looks for hope. Immediately collapsed on. Big punish by the Pandas, but can they get the support out and away from the rest of WE's grasp? 4-on-4, W flash from Monki, looks to tag Kael, the rest follow up through the magical journey, and Kael might just have to be the sacrificial lamb. Good kick from Tarzan, punts them away.
No way. Can they do it?
Will be slowed down for now. They cannot look for the end, but you can just feel anyone's legend slipping away from this series.
They're not going to look for any further aggression, like you said, but they're going to get the dragon. They're going to deny every possible win condition, every possible play, every possible attempt by AL to come back in this game, to salvage this series. WE are shutting it all down, Mark.
Last year, WE had one of the greatest upsets of 2025 season. When they were in the lower bracket, they faced off against Top Esports, the reigning champions in the LPL from Split 1, and they knocked them out of playoffs, denied them an opportunity to represent LPL not only, again, as a reigning champion, but also on the international stage. What an incredible story for WE to potentially top that playoffs finish by finishing top 3 with a game win here. The best since 2021 summer, where Shanks was first making his name as his debut year in LPL. It is just crazy to think that this is the roster that comes together and starts taking the world by storm after having a 1-13 series record during the regular season.
And we focused so much on this team as a collective force, and we've talked a lot about the players individually and their journeys to get here. WE are looking for a siege, but I really do think Erha has to be looked at, as there is no time to explain the story. AL are looking for a flank, potentially one last hurrah, as Tarzan is trying to get an angle. Maybe they found Cube, but he is so damn tanky on the Cassante.
Tarzan, does he chance it over the wall? Monki immediately dashes onto the Lee Sin, gets the knock-up, and a lot of damage pumped out, forcing Tarzan to dash back to safety. Rest of WE continue the siege. They should be able to break open the inhibitor tower through the top lane. Flandre has retreated from his siege push, making sure that he is able to assist. Destiny was popped. Flandre looking for a flank onto Monki, but he pops the Crescent Guard. They go on to Shanks first. He flashes
found
away
Flandre!
Belts, but Flandre is popped.
They found Hope!
Temper Fate onto 2. Karis is about to land. The sickest stun ever. Tarzan tries to go in and save his AD carry from certain death.
They're gonna do it!
And Hope does it! WE, their best playoffs finish in 5 years, and their journey is far from over! Could you believe it that WE are going to upper finals?
Doubters be damned! Haters be halted! WE from 1-13 now be one series away from MSI, and it's not about how you start, it's about how you finish, but this story is not over. They've got a date with Top Esports.
This is the LPL. Oh my god. This is the greatest story in LPL. I would have to go back and comb through, and I know I might be presumptuous in saying that because I have not followed the LPL for too long. There's definitely a gap in some years here, but I would be pressed to believe that there is no other team that is going to be making waves like this around the world now after this. First, it's an upset over BLG. But that could be just one series. And
yeah, maybe you're a one-hit wonder.
Yep, one-hit wonder, right? But WE have now replicated that success into anyone's legend. A 3-0 sweep. Mind you, almost every other best of 5 that anyone's legend has played against WE in the past 2 years, it has been 3-0s from anyone's legend. WE just said LNG was harder than you guys.
That's aura. If that isn't aura right there, if that isn't disrespect right there, I don't know what else is. A statement series from Team WE to convince everyone that this is the new level and you better get used to it. And Mark, as a team, this is such a crazy story, but look at the pieces of this squad individually, every single one of them with their own little mini redemption arc in my mind. But one player that I think maybe doesn't fit under the redemption arc banner, but should totally be talked about is Erha. This is a guy who in split number 1 was on Weibo. They made a deep run in playoffs, and then going into split 2 was put onto WE, and with the rough start they had, a lot of people, you know, kind of, I think, put him in the back of their minds as a player who was on Weibo, but with Weibo having a decent form of success at the time in split 2 regular season, was just kind of left there onto Team WE. Had some good performances, but overall, not a ton of special stuff coming out from him, at least in my mind. And then now, Weibo eliminated, not even in the playoffs. Erha, the only member of WBG 2026 to even get into the top 8. Now, he has the chance, one series away, to make an international.
The first time for Monki. The first time for WE as an organization since 2017 at the World Championship. Everyone is going to be tuning in to the upper finals where WE will be facing off against top esports. And I'm just going to put it out there, Quax. Out of the 3 teams that WE has faced in the upper bracket so far, or not the 3 teams, the 2 teams that they have faced in the upper bracket, 3 teams if you count LNG, their finishes have been getting more dominant and more convincing with every series win. And now, if you are top esports, I'm
scared. Like, I'm confused. Like, what is going on?
In the most polite way of saying this without Alk and the rest of the admin team getting mad at me, my pants would be turning to brown. Like, right now. It just straight up.
Honestly, I think it apt to fly the graphic of last series endings in games 3 and 4, just to show how close those matches were and how much of a knife's edge WE had to play with against BLG to get those victories. You can say that they won the series, you can call it an upset, but no matter what you talk about, you can't deny those games to end the series and give WE their last 2 wins to advance into this matchup were extremely close and could have gone the way of BLG and very well could have turned the entire series around had just a little bit more gone right for BLG. It was a nail biter, and after this point, like you said, proving that you're more than one-hit wonders, this was not a close series. This was not a battle. This was a slaughter, and Team WE annihilated AL in the most convincing way and in the most convincing games they have had, frankly, all year, in my opinion.
Yeah. This is a generational run that WE is making right now. And if we're going to stop the WE glaze for a moment, we can shift the conversation over to Anyone's Legend briefly and just touch upon some of the things that were good takeaways, but I think I'm trying to appropriately give some criticism over to Anyone's Legend without shoring up the praise that needs to be given over to WE.
For sure.
And
I think, from my exquisite, very in-depth analysis, that one of the things I noticed AL weren't able to do in their series against WE that they were able to in their first best of 5 was the amount of pressure played on as a team. I felt like this was something we saw with picks like the Shen, with picks like the Twisted Fate. This Twisted Fate was like unrecognizable from Flandre compared to the one that he pulled out in the last series. The amount of pressure he was able to put on against their round 1 opponents compared to now, I felt was so different. And I think that AL, frankly, just weren't as solid of a team, in my opinion. They didn't play the 5v5s as well. They didn't play the skirmishes as good. Tarzan's leadership plays in the early game are a staple and a universal game plan that AL have used ever since the beginning of 2025, since he joined this team and joined this organization. And we saw absolutely none of that. It felt like everything that AL have stuck with did not come through to the degree that was needed in order to win this series. We saw hints of it, but it just, at the end of the day, they were too few and far between.
This early response from Anyone's Legend seemed calculated, and it gave the Pandas fan in me an inkling of hope that AL were starting to break down the gameplay of WE and understanding where they're trying to strike. And it's not like this was the first time we saw that flash of brilliance from them. There was the ward that caught Monki and Karis on the top side looking for that trap. But what always happened after these flashes of brilliance is that WE swung onto the map right away and made a beeline for a straggler on Anyone's Legend side. And I don't know if AL are just thinking, okay, after that win from us, WE are going to take a breather. They're going to take a step back and try and chill out because they don't want to give any gold away. And WE's response is the complete opposite. They just double down. But the manner they're doing it just seems so fearless that if any other team tries to do the same thing, it's easy to ridicule them when it fails. But WE have yet to fail enough times that it outweighs all of the successes that they are finding with these risks, with these plays that they're finding. And in a way that NIP was capturing our hearts during the regular season with some of their relentless, persistent decision-making, WE is now pulling similar maneuvers off, but to a whole other degree. And I am now insanely excited for this team. They still need to win one more series to guarantee themselves a spot at MSI, but this form that they are showing has me very optimistic for their chances now that they have done it twice in a row. And they have done it against teams that at least have been some of the pinnacle clubs here in LPL over its domestic history.
Really, this has the chance to be one of, you were saying that there are gaps in the memory of LPL, as this is a league that has had a very long tenured history, has been around for an extremely large amount of time relative to league's existence. And I would agree with you that we would have to look back at the stories of the LPL to comparatively see where this one ranks, but the fact that we are in a world where a 1-13 team, you can see just over this way, you can see their score, 1-13 has the chance and is 1 best of 5, 3 wins away from getting into a grand final. That has to be high up there if that does happen. And for top esports, they are definitely going to be a strong opponent. We are highlighting Monki. We are highlighting About, I think, as the players that really stepped up in this series. Frankly, everyone from Team WE stepped up in this series. But if you want to talk about big threats in the jungle and in the AD carry role, you need not look any further than Jackie Love and TN. This split performing very well and getting a lot of honors from us broadcast talent. So it is an apt final boss for WE, but my only advice to top esports, don't make the same mistake as BLG and AL. Do not underestimate WE, as I feel like that is a pitfall they both fell into, and they got punished for it.
I am doing some deep digging into the history of WE as an org, because obviously we were able to pull up 2021 summer as their best finish since that period of time. That was the last time they had ever made third, which is their highest placing in the past few years up until now that it is tied. I don't see a second place finish in terms of grand finals appearances until spring 2017, and it was just a straight up win. It was an LPL title.
To give you all, I'll make them all feel old about how long that was. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm 22. I was in 7th grade the last time this team, I was in middle school the last time this team made an international, okay? It's been almost a decade. So just to put that into perspective, I don't even really remember when they made an international, okay? I like memories from 7th grade, I either have locked in a memory vault or I just straight up don't remember them.
Yeah. Well, unless Leaguepedia is wrong, and I have made sure to read everything correctly here at 5:50 a.m. over here in Utah, 2017 spring is the one and only time WE has won an LPL title in its history as an organization.
They're one of the oldest. They've been around since the beginning, keep in mind.
Yeah. I'm doing one more quick check, looking at 2013. They were third. All the other first place finishes are other tournaments like Nest, IPL, TGA Grand Prix. So I don't even know if this is official LPL stuff. You know, official LPL stuff doesn't come in until 2013. And let's see. Before 2017, they had 4th place finish in 2016 summer, 3rd place finish in 2016 spring. Yeah. No other notable finishes. This is crazy, guys. Just to think of the history that could be made with this roster. And we saw glimpses of it with Monki and Taeyun and Vampire as the engine last year in Split 2 playoffs, and it fell short in the lower bracket to IG, short of a top 3 finish, which could have tied that 2021 summer placing, but they've officially tied it now, and they are still in the upper bracket. So even if something happens in the matchup against top esports, they still have a chance in the lower bracket to make it to grand finals, to make it their best placing, or to continue topping this best finish in playoffs since that time period long ago. But I'm just now seeing a timeline. I'm like Doctor Strange. I am seeing all the parallels in the multiverse. Yes. We can see a world where WE continues this momentum and adds their second ever title to their trophy case.
Second ever.
For the first time since 2017 spring. Just imagine that. Just imagine all of the milestones that this org could rack up in one single playoffs run.
It would be absolutely generational. It would be insane to see that happen. Some would say it would make them pretty world elite, if you will. They're not called that anymore. Anyway,
nope.
But you know, dead naming them for fun. But it was absolutely an insane series from WE.
Oh my! When are we getting our player of the game? When are we getting our player of the series? That's the real question. I imagine that player of the series is probably going to be Monki. I would be hard pressed to give it to anyone else? Question mark. Because Monki is the driving force of a lot of these advantages and the driving force of a lot of these plays that WE continuously and relentlessly persist on making. But if it's single player of the game shoutouts, I could see Cube on the Cassante. I could see Karis on the Annie. Where's your head at, Quax?
I mean, I feel like it has to be. I feel like it has to be Monki, like, given player of the series. Player of the game, I would actually say Karis. Like, that Annie really, quite literally and metaphorically, turned up the heat, going from, like, the mid game to the late game. And I think that all of the attempts from AL were just, like, completely nullified. Like, they were trying to shut him down early, and it didn't work.
Yeah. I'm just impressed with how much this WE roster has blown up. I'm scanning Twitter. We got a insight from one of the LPL community members in U. She mentioned that WE coach Jinjin said that he's not the only coach on the team. Condi, who I remember from the 2017 days, which is the last time WE had not only domestic success, but also international success. Former WE jungler is also helping with the team. Erha said he had mental collapse during the regular split, but Condi kept comforting and encouraging him. How freaking cool is that, to have a former WE alumni part of the most victorious and successful era that WE has had ever, and being an instrumental part to a rebirth and a potential revitalization of this org, in being able to pick up accolades once again and be recognized as one of the best teams in the LPL right now, and potentially one of the best teams going into the international stage. If they make it that far, they gotta make it happen. Yeah,
we are being so, I feel like, presumptuous on the series for top esports. Like, I feel like almost that we're acting like this obstacle does not exist. But I mean, first of all, it's the hype. You know, like the idea of that story being told and that being fulfilled, I think, just as storytellers for the LPL, on top of being analysts and casters, like, that would be something we would talk about for years. And those kinds of things stick with you, especially when you cover the teams and you watch these teams and you know, get to see the players in action. Having that all come full circle is really fulfilling, I think, as casters. But then on top of that, like, I just think this is such a comeback story, right?
Yeah.
From 1-13 to potentially going to an international, that is something that doesn't happen, right? So to have that here in real time and the idea of that being a thing, you can't help but get, like, overly excited and presuming that it actually has the ability to be reality.
All right. LPL caster desk. Let's see who gets player of the game, who gets player of the series. You guys might not be able to see it, but our producer Ice is showing us on a pop-up screen for our window here. So they're discussing. I think once again, Monki is going to get player of the series. But I wouldn't mind a player of the game going over to someone like Cube.
I vote Karis. I mean...
Yeah, Karis is totally fine too.
I think, though, the fact that we are evenly distributing the player of the games for 3 different members is really telling of how much of a team effort this is. We have highlighted Monki a lot in this series as, like, the driving force for this team, but this was a collective effort. This was a team gap, and WE were in it together. They got over the finish line as a unit, and so for one player to get, like, for player of the game to be given out to 3 different members, I think shows that collective effort, and I would have it no other way.
Yeah. Monki can be the driving force and the madman behind the chaos, but the entire team needs to buy into the chaos itself. And I think WE are doing that every single time. The fact that you're getting single highlights from players who are pulling off their own versions of insanity, where I think Cube on that Cassante in the 1v2 retreats, goes back in with the Chemtech empowered blast cone and decides to continue baiting AL further into a fight. And it's just the constant tug of war, constantly fishing for more and baiting AL into thinking,
there it is.
Oh yeah, our health bars are low. You guys should be able to win this fight. But they're constantly believing and constantly communicating to each other which targets to prioritize, what cooldowns are coming off cooldown, and obviously anyone's legend should be doing the same, but it just seems like the degree that WE are communicating to each other is a whole other level. Karis, as you called out, does get player of the game. Now, the real moment, and the question needs to be answered. Who gets player of the series? By the way, for player of the game, it was split between mid, support, and bot lane, actually.
Yeah, I mean, about having a, I would say, silently good series, and
there it is.
Could be no one else. Monki against the king of the jungle. Like you said, he's an entirely different beast. I loved that call, by the way. I just have to reference back to it. All of the hype around Team WE has been generated because of Monki's craziness, because of his calculated risk assessment, because of the aggression that he shows in all of his games. This win was possible. He drove it, but the rest of the team, they helped him get there. This was a collective effort, and they've got one more hurdle to go, Mark, and I don't care that it'll be at 3 a.m. for me. I don't care if I might lose some sleep. I will be tuning in to that series.
Absolutely. I will be there, just like the Mbappe.
No matter what.
I will be there no matter what, baby. Monki deserved player of the match. Again, another player of the match awarded to Monki in his second playoff series in the upper bracket. At this rate, if this momentum continues, Monki is already a frontrunner for tournament MVP. Or playoffs
Might
MVP,
legitimately
I should say.
be. I think this actually, even if by some, I think, unfortunate turn of events, they, like, get 0-3'd by top esports, and then whoever they face in, like, a lower bracket, they get 0-3'd by them. I think what we have seen from WE will already have enough buzz and enough people excited to where Monki will probably get votes for that award. Again, we are only, like, I would say about halfway through the tournament, so again, like us assuming that WE will make an international, or like hyping up as if it is going to happen, you know, tournament MVP, presumptuous, but very hyped, the fact that it is a possibility.
Yeah. Well, it's time to call it there. The WE praise and the WE hype will continue another day, as WE now have earned themselves a few days of rest and much needed preparation for their winners finals match, which will be on June 7. Yes. I'm not going to say it.
Yeah.
They will be awaiting Top Esports, and that matchup could define the first time that Top Esports has been in grand finals since 2017 spring, and would put them into MSI, their first international, also in the same year, just to put it in perspective. And my goodness, I want to believe in this team so bad. This story is already insane.
You must already be a believer. You have to commit. I'm committed.
Oh, yeah.
We're going.
And it really makes me feel vindicated for believing in Monki in the aftermath of Split 2 playoffs last year. And I feel bad for doubting him as he started dipping in form. Remember, there was a time early in regular season where Monki benched himself because he didn't believe in himself anymore, that he didn't feel like he was competing at a good enough level. Yep. What a bounce back. What a just incredible story. And it really just feels like Neo from the Matrix, where Morpheus turns to the rest of his comrades and says, he's starting to believe. Like, this is just insane aura that is starting to gather up for this guy. As we have the updated bracket, WE now in upper finals alongside Top Esports, 1 series win away from their first international. And now Anyone's Legend find themselves in the lower bracket alongside JDG, where Anyone's Legend will be awaiting the winner of Thunder Talk and LGD. JDG awaiting the winner of EDG and BLG. So it's going to be some time before we progress on those lower bracket matches, which will continue with the first round of the lower bracket starting tomorrow and June 3rd. But thank you so much to everyone for tuning in to the broadcast. What a pleasure to witness the continued generational run of WE, and I hope for their sake that it doesn't stop anytime soon. But before we close out tonight's show, we want to give a huge shout out and thank you to our elite coffee supporters, Aaron Soup and Mung. Their pledged financial contributions help level up the broadcast and give back to the cast and crew